Well, that first time before you go to Ranger School, you said you had 2 deployments, and they were both to Iraq.
Yeah.
So the first one's what, like 04?
Oh five.
05?
05 was going into 06, yeah.
Okay, so the insurgency has popped off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's a mess.
Yeah.
But you thought you were like going to be going down into Vietnam, and
Oh yeah.
you landed
all the
calmly.
books that I read growing up, which weren't many, but the ones that I did read were all like Vietnam based. The MARSOC guys are not the MARSOC. It's the SOG, the SOG guys in Vietnam. They were like my inspiration. They were the only guys who like had books about, Vietnam. Then I read stuff about Carlos Hathcock and the Marine Sniper and a few other books about Vietnam. So my perceptive or my perspective of what war was just, Vietnam. I was of course training with guys in Ranger Battalion, but it was I don't know. You don't really know what to expect until you get there, and all the training in the world is not gonna
Right.
simulate combat. So, I didn't expect to be raiding schools and stuff like that in Iraq, but you would train in old rundown schools stateside to practice, room clearing and taking over compounds. And like the Ranger specialty primarily is to take over an airfield. So, you jump in, take over an airfield, secure it, and move on from there. Not one time did I ever have to, secure an airfield overseas. They were all, little houses here, complexes here. They were never, anything in that nature. So what I thought war was going to be was totally different. But yeah, we landed in Iraq, and like there were McDonald's or little fast food shops, coffee bean places, and stuff like that. It was
You're like,
totally
this ain't
different.
Saigon.
Yeah,
Fuck.
far from it. Far from it. You didn't find out until you went outside the wire, and even then, it wasn't what I expected.
It's more urban warfare
Very,
in
very.
Iraq, like pretty much across the country, no?
Yeah, all urban. I didn't do anything. Like Iraq and Afghanistan were almost night and day. Iraq was all urban, and at least you could see the enemy, for the most part, unless they were using like IEDs or whatever. But Afghanistan, it was like fighting ghosts, though. It was rare you saw someone, for the most part.
Yeah.
Rare.
A lot of tree lines, small tucked away villages, mountains.
Mountains, yeah. Wide open fields. And, dude, they've been fighting in that land since,
Oh, yeah.
forever. So it's
What do they
different.
say about it? It's like that's where empires fall.
Yeah, come to die or whatever it is. Yeah.
Didn't like I might be making this up, but maybe it was like Alexander the Great like worked his way around
See,
Afghanistan
now that you
or something
said
like that?
something like that, now my mind's thinking about it.
Can we Google that, Alessi? Alexander the Great, what did he do vis-a-vis Afghanistan? He might have battled through it, but there's something that goes back to someone
Yeah.
like him,
Yeah,
like way
yeah.
back then, that like
Now-
every time people try to fuck around, they find out.
Saw this on the History Channel, man. My mind's drawing a blank. Yeah.
We got anything? All right, let's see. Alexander's campaign in Afghanistan was a part of his war against the Persian Empire. He entered the territories that are now Afghanistan after his victory over the Persian Empire in 331 and 330. However, his plan to use the territories as a highway to India failed due to strong resistance
go.
from the Afghan
Yeah.
tribes. I didn't make it up.
Even he had a hard time, or
Dude.
didn't want to mess with that, which is weird. I did not expect Afghanistan to even be like that, though. Like from its appearance and the people that you see there, you would have no idea that they are willing to fight this thing out for decades.
What about the appearance of the people gives no idea about that?
Skinny, frail, malnutrition. I'm not trying to be mean, but their intellect, I think, was a little off to me. Their belief system and just they knew one thing, and it was just basically how to fight or how to survive. And even talking to we worked with some Afghan guys over there, and it was just their culture was far different. Of men were for pleasure and women for reproduction. So it was.
Where did we hear that one? Yeah, you'll remember it later. Someone else said that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird culture, and you see weird stuff. based around what I just said of men being for pleasure. And yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, I heard the word boys where you
Yep,
said
boys.
men.
There you go, boys. Yeah, T-boys or chai boys, whatever we call them. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you got it, Leslie. Now it came upstairs. Yeah, there's.
I've walked into a room full of it and
Ooh.
did a mission where literally like guys were doing their thing in the tree line, and we had to go in there and take care of that. It was a weird sight to see.
Ooh. All right, well, we're going to be getting...
Pulling guys apart.
Ooh. All right, we're gonna be getting all into Afghanistan, but back to Iraq just to cover that because that was the beginning. Mm-hmm. One of the things you talk about is like people make these legends of people and start to exaggerate some things. So you're very clear in your book exactly where your numbers are and stuff like that. But you had to do your first kill on your first deployment in Iraq.
Yeah.
What happened there? Guys, if you're still watching this video and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please take 2 seconds and go hit it right now. Thank you.
50 cal machine gunner. So I started off in battalion as an assaulter. I was a 203 guy, grenade launcher. Went on to weapon squad where it's like all the heavy weapons. You have your 50 cal machine gun, your 240 machine guns, your Mark 48s, and all the big machine gun stuff. Being a 50 cal machine gunner on top of a striker, which is another piece of equipment we use, it's like a 40-ton vehicle, has 8 wheels, 4 on each side. It's like a tank on wheels. I was a gunner for that and a driver for it. For this particular mission, I was a gunner, and during that time, it was a curfew. People were not allowed to be outside during a certain time. And this time had elapsed, and we see a vehicle like veering towards a convoy that I was in. And me being the lead vehicle and the gunner, I had a PO with me, I believe, and he's telling me to engage this guy. The car was like way down in the back, a lot of weight in it. I had no idea what a vehicle-borne IED was or how they used them or what to look out for. He's telling me to engage this car. And in my mind, I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't think, to shoot someone. I always thought my combat experience was going to be a blaze of glory. Your first kill, you're getting shot at, big firefight, and you have to kill someone. Not we're just cruising downtown, or not cruising downtown. It was, we just got done doing an operation, taking some prisoners back. And like as the sun is coming up, you see a vehicle start to pick up speed and come straight towards our convoy. And your commander's like, hey, light this guy up. And it takes a while. And he slaps me on the helmet. He's like, light this fucker up now. And I did. Pulled the trigger on it, butterfly trigger, and skipped the rounds from the hood of his car all the way through him. Like a good 9-round burst. And car went all, sideways and veered towards us or past us. And we stopped, got out. They investigated the vehicle, popped open the trunk, and he had these old artillery rounds like wired all together in there. And that was like their shtick back then. Artillery wired to chlorine, I believe, to make like a chlorine bomb. And yeah, shot that guy. It was the first one I ever killed.
But you didn't know until they confirmed it going to the car to check him out because he was in the car.
Yeah.
Right?
So when they opened the car, that's where I could see what had happened to him. What a good amount of 50 caliber rounds to do to someone. I just saw, from my perspective, I saw sparks and red-ish, pinkish mist, I guess. Mm-hmm. But when they popped open the car, it was just like not even half a human. It was a disfigured human, like jelly a little bit.
Yeah. Can you even process that like right in the moment when you've got that confirmed, or are you still just very much
I was still
in mode?
Yeah, still like rushing off wow, I just shot my first weapon overseas in combat. It wasn't like it was hard I didn't think it was going to go down that way, I thought I was going to be getting shot at or something, not just a guy who wants to use his car like a torpedo. but I lived off that high and just up until I got back. It was a weird experience. I did not. This is not how I expected it to go down. So it was just weird to kind of put that all together. But it was weird when I got back, though.
How long was that deployment? Like
90 days.
90 days.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was like the one time there where there was action. The rest of it was you're basically out in convoys, checking places out, and you didn't have to take action?
Every day was action. We did
There was.
120 missions in 90 days. We killed, I forgot, like 1,000-something guys. The most we've ever killed in a deployment was like 1,900 in a 3-month time span. So it's every day is action. Every day is action. I might not be, pulling the trigger on all those missions or operations. It's a lot of the
that's where I misunderstood.
Yeah, the assaulters and stuff like that. They are, but like every day was a pretty hectic day. Yeah.
Did you lose any guys during that first one?
Not from my platoon. We lost somebody from another platoon. I was first platoon. We had first platoon, second platoon, and third platoon. Somebody from, I believe, second platoon died. And maybe somebody else from third platoon. A couple of guys did die. Yeah. I just did not know them directly. I know they were in Ranger Battalion, and we might have, passed each other going to chow or something like that, going to eat, but I didn't know him personally, though.
So you don't have there's not like that straight line connection yet to like how real it gets when you or anyone else can go down out there.
Yeah. I didn't see that yet firsthand. We felt like, or to me, it felt like my platoon was just a untouchable platoon made of like little gods, man. We were just untouchable.
It's a dangerous feeling.
Big time. Because when it happens, it makes it worse too.
And again, you're still 18 at the time. Your cerebral, what is it, the prefrontal cortex or whatever?
Not developed yet.
Not developed at all.
No.
So you don't even have like a...
No. And we're doing stuff like this, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's now it's crazy to you, but at the time, did you have any appreciation for that?
No, at the time, I mean, I felt like I was a grown man. Like, I felt like I was more of a... It's going to sound weird, like more of a man than my dad, or like at my dad's level a little bit. It felt like that at that time because I was doing stuff my dad never got a chance to do,
Is that competitive a little bit? Like, is that where that's coming from?
Probably. Yeah, I could see that.
I'll show you, old man.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, a lot of that. And yeah, like the first time I ever killed someone, that next day I had told him about it. And he's like, don't talk about that. Not on the phone, at least. So just never talked about it again after that. He didn't find out until I left the Army, and he started to hear stuff and see stuff online or whatever.
Oh, what came later? He didn't know about that at all?
No idea. I stopped talking about killing altogether with my family. My wife didn't know until after I got out. Well, it was that last deployment. One of my team guys was we were talking, and she overheard some stuff, and and she was like, what the hell are you talking about? That's how she found out. But there's only been one deployment I haven't killed someone, and that was a trip to Afghanistan with SEAL Team 6. But
and that was later.
That was like 08. Yeah.
Got it. All right, so you do another one in Iraq after that. Similar kind of op tempo?
I went to Ranger School, then to Baghdad. That op tempo was really low, like not slow. It was fun. We got a chance to work with the SEALs and use their boats. I forget what their boat is called, but we would ride up and down the river, dismount off the river. It was like almost like Vietnam a little bit, just like a small, wasn't it Vietnam, but it felt like, Vietnam. The jungle style environment. Yeah. Tall trees coming off the water, the ravine, and using boats to infill. That was pretty sick working with SEALs like that.
Yeah, how does that I've asked this to different guys. This part's always a little confusing for me. Like, how does it work where they're like, all right, Rangers, you're working with SEALs, or Delta Force, you're working with SEALs, or Marines, you're working with like, how does this go down?
That's a good question. I believe it comes down to who's in theater and who has a certain operational capabilities. I think it comes down to that. Like during my the second deployment in Iraq, I was a part of a joint task force. Not sure if the name is known yet, but it was a joint task force where it was us, SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, some SAS guys, and some CIA guys, and it was a pretty cool task force.
It's like the Avengers team right there.
It was literally like that. The stuff we were doing was really neat, really neat.
What kind of stuff?
Just straight taking it to them. A lot of killing.
Now is that task force post Alzacali going down?
I was there for that.
Oh, you were there for that?
Yeah, I was on that task force as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, Alzacali.
So you were hunting Alzacali.
Yeah. I still have the little. They dropped these pamphlets or little pieces of paper in that town before we had actually captured him, and then we have the picture of him where his head is.
Yeah.
Looking like that, but
can't show that one on screen, but people Google it at home.
Yeah. I was there for that, and I was there for. We found that whole operation, or during that mission. I remember the thing that stands out to me is like all the money we found, like in his little hideout spots and stuff that he would, I guess, visit, or people who worked for him stayed, and we would go after those guys. But they had so much money. Like crisp $100 U.S. currency bills stuffed in walls.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You ever hear about like the biggest robbery in world history that happened at the beginning of the war?
No.
So like Saddam's sons went to like the Bank of Baghdad like a day into the war and just took like $1 billion.
Jeez.
And said, "See ya."
Jeez, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the money that just floats around.
Yep. I have not come across a terrorist that has not had like a crisp $100 bill on them.
They hate America, but they do love our greenbacks.
Yep. Yeah.
That part's interesting to
Isn't
me.
it? Yeah. Then you wonder, like, how is this all getting there?
Right.
Yeah. In remote caves. So.
Remote caves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where they're hiding and stuff.
Yeah.
So that task force, that Zakari task force, this is like 05, 06. You're on that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, is that the one that was like Team Avengers? Or that was
both
later?
of them. I was on two task force. Yeah. So
because this is, I mean, obviously, like the CIA was like the brain unit of trying to hunt this guy. So are you directly interfacing with people from there on intelligence as far as like where these houses are before you hit them?
Yeah, they would supply all the information, all the intel. Like we're not, and if I ever came across a CIA guy, like for the majority of the time, I had no idea they were even with the agency or anything. I just thought they were some cool army guy with
That's
a beard.
how they like it.
Yeah, I had no idea who these guys were, and that's how it was for a lot of the operations. Like you would know the Delta guys; they would either stay with us or. They had no issue saying who they were with. But they wouldn't say, "Hi, I'm Delta Force." They would say, "I'm with the unit" or something like that. But yeah, they were cool guys, and they would recruit from us like every deployment. So
they would recruit from you?
Yeah, from the Ranger battalions.
To get right.
Yeah, to get new guys. The agency guys, they were spooky. Like you don't know who you're really dealing with or anything like that. It was just spooky dudes. And especially being that age that I was, it was hard to, you're working with some cool guys, but you don't know who's who.
Do you have a concept at all of like the geopolitical implications of what's going on? And the reason I ask that is because you're getting there when shit has hit the fan. The whole like separating out the Ba'ath Party backfired. The insurgency of terrorists has basically seized on the upset population to rally them behind them to be like, fuck these people who are here, which includes you, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird time. Do you have any grasp of that, or are you just so focused on like, all right, what's the next mission? Here's what we got to do. All right, great, let's do it.
That's it. Yeah, just what's the next mission? And every day, sometimes 2 or 3 missions a day. But that's my only focus. I guess after one particular mission, we had taken down a high-value target, and I remember sitting in the chow hall and seeing the mission we had just accomplished, like, on the news. I think that was, like, the most I've ever been, like, holy shit, we're doing some Pretty impactful stuff. And they didn't say who did it. They did. They said it was Iraqi special forces or something. But I was like, man, that was pretty neat to be a part of missions like that, where your name or your unit does not get mentioned. It gets passed off to somebody else. That was pretty cool.
Right. I would imagine that's how most of it has to get
disseminated. And then when you watch the news over there, you realize how much of it is, like, it's just all propaganda.
Right.
That was neat to see as a kid. Like, everything that you guys were getting back here was almost a lie. Not a lie, it was just a lot of propaganda.
So beyond, you're saying, like, obviously beyond just like changing a team that did it or who did it, the actual information of what's happening on the ground is different.
It's totally different. Totally different.
So what would you say during that time period was the main problems with, like, the reporting of what's happening in Iraq?
The main problems, probably the numbers, I think. The numbers of maybe civilian deaths, I think, casualties. We wouldn't really advertise our all the times that we messed up. Or not messed up, where something bad happened, or innocent person got killed, or some of the tactics we were using to get who we were going after. But then you get older and you realize that, well, yeah, a lot of the stuff that these companies and, like, your cell phones are always listening to you and stuff like that, you know, I think looking back at it now, you realize, or you think, depend on, like, how much of a conspiracy theorist you are. Like, were we testing all this technology out on these people first before we implemented it here? It feels like that sometimes too. Yeah.
I haven't heard that one before.
Really?
That's believable, though.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, it's impossible to know, but in talking to some of the people I get to talk to doing this job, in your head, you're like, all right, so is DARPA 40, 50, or 60 years ahead? Right. Like, how far?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go, 40 to 60.
Right?
Yeah, they're pretty up there, pretty far out there, yeah.
So what are they testing? You know, in this case, you're talking about them testing it in a war zone over there, because who gives a fuck about them?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, what are they testing on your own population, too?
Yep. 5G. No, I don't know.
You haven't even been here an hour.
I don't know.
Damn it.
5G.
Yeah, I can imagine that's got to be frustrating, though, because, you know, I hate when people in offices in Washington, D.C. wearing suits have to run and duck and cover for their own decisions, and then it gets painted back on the guys who are there. Like, there's no better example than what you studied growing up with the Vietnam vets. I mean, those guys were spit on when they were brought back. But it's like, they got drafted to go there. Like, what the fuck do you want them to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's hell when you get there.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to go through that again with the way things are looking now. Hopefully we don't have to, you know, incorporate the draft again. Who knows? Yeah,
I've heard rumors about that. Maybe being a thing.
That would suck really bad, because we'd lose so bad. Well, when's the last time we ever, like, when was the last war that we have won?
I mean, does the 91 Gulf War count?
No.
That's like 2 days.
Yeah, and we just picked up where we left off. Yeah, it was a to be continued. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing is, when you look at the history of modern warfare, like post-World War II, it's usually big country in small proxy country, right? So United States in Korea, Russia, the Soviet Union, and various little countries that, you know, weren't world powers. United States in Vietnam, United States in Iraq.
Yeah.
Russia in Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know, Israel in Gaza. You know, Gaza's, they're not going to be number one in GDP. Right. Neither is Ukraine. I hate to break it to you guys.
Yeah, it's the truth. Well, they might be now, though. All the money we're giving them.
They still need a few years, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Point being, you know, it's like they're all these wars are really what's happening outside of the wars diplomatically, or I don't even know if that's the right word to use there, but it feels like warfare is this almost like a hammer in the toolbox. Just take out and bang in some nails, and who gives a fuck how they feel?
Yeah, 100%. which is weird when you think about it, especially the guys who were sending those guys out to do that stuff get a chance to go home and eat caviar, every night if that's your thing. But
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating though because we're not putting boots on the ground there, which I like because I don't like endless wars. I'm not one of the, just to be clear, I'm not one of these people who's like, we can never be involved. That's a really bad way to look at things.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
the world is a nasty place and
Fact.
shit happens and you do have to take action.
Yeah.
But I'm also not one of these people that's like, well, let's just pump endless cash reserves into all these things. And all right, they lose 100K, they lose 200K. We're talking lives, whatever. Like as a human being,
Yeah.
I'm never going to get behind that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like that now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you in Iraq, you talk about like the civilian deaths. You feel like we're being misreported and stuff like that. At the same time, you guys, it's not your fault that the people there now hate you because of what politicians have decided to do. It's also probably understandable that some, maybe not the total terrorists, but some of the other people may not like you.
Yeah.
Because like you guys are forced to have to go to door every night and like do checks in uniforms with guns in the faces of kids.
Yeah.
But like, one of the things I always ask the guys who are over there is in no way to like condone terrorism or anything like that. But could you see how the 7-year-old in 2006 who was getting his house broken into every night by people in suits that say America on it might hate America now at age 26?
We knew that back then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You'd kill a dad right in front of his kid, and you can only imagine, the disdain that he has towards the guys who did that, or the country that did that to his dad, and what he's going to grow up to be. Like, I knew that back then. And some of us were there long enough to actually see the manifestation of that, over those years, 20-something years is a long time. And that's a long time.
I sent my mom a video this morning of a kid, because you got to be careful with all these videos because there's propaganda like crazy everywhere. So I'm pretty tight with those and I can't be 100% on stuff, but there was one of a kid who was probably about 9-10 years old crying. I'm like, all right, I don't think he's a Hollywood actor. And, he's in Lebanon and his family had just been bombed or whatever. And he was crying, but he was making sense. He wasn't just like hysterical. He was talking about, he's like, God needs to get back at these perpetrators or whatever. And I said to my mom, I said, when this kid blows up a building in 15 years, I won't condone it and I'll hate him for it, but I'll damn well understand where it started.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah. It's a never-ending cycle, man. And that's what I don't get. These wars are confusing at this point. It's like, in order to, I guess alleviate that issue, you'd have to kill everybody. And that's the only way that you can make that. But then you're just going to piss off somebody, their next door neighbor or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but it's a weird battle to fight, very strange battle to fight.
And it sounds like you, based on what you're saying, even at 18, 19 in those earliest deployments, you even have some understanding of that as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
That's impressive, but...
You get a chance to see it firsthand,
Yeah.
And, if I were a kid, I'd feel the same way, too. If you killed my dad, probably not going to like you after that.
It's up.
Yeah. I'm going to come find you. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was one of the things you talked about, how, like, you're in these countries and these people are used to just having helicopters over their head at all times, people carrying rifles around in military uniforms on the street. And here, when we had that happen for like a week or two.
Which one was, what was that?
After 9/11.
Okay, yeah.
Like, that was weird for people.
Were you here for that when that happened?
No, I grew up in South Jersey, but I remember 9/11.
Close enough,
It's like one of my first memories.
Yeah. How old were you?
I was 7.
Okay, wow, man.
Damn. I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
That whole everything about
it's
that.
It's crazy
day.
How it's scarred into your mind like that, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. Damn, dude.
But we had that for like 2 weeks.
Really?
To your point, whatever it was, where not down where I was, but like when I say we, I'm talking about people who were like here in New York, where they walk outside and there's military guys and stuff.
Humvees and all. I forgot about that, man. Yeah.
But that was crazy, and it's like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Imagine 2 decades.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Or like 200 years.
That too? Yeah.
Wow. That's all they know.
Yeah. Dude, it was weird when I was over there. Like, some people had no idea why we were even over there. Like, what are you talking? That was a weird one. Like, you guys don't have TV. You don't know what happened. Like, we didn't have anything to do with that. That was Saudi Arabia.
They're next door. Go there.
Wrong house. You can borrow some sugar though.
There was a Frontline documentary. I don't know how long ago, but it was years after Iraq had happened, where they went and interviewed a lot of now adults who were like kids and teenagers.
Oh wow.
When the war started.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about like, okay, Saddam was a very bad guy. Let's not rewrite history here.
Mm-hmm.
But they talk about some of the normalcy in their life.
Ah, yeah.
Right?
I've heard stories about that too. Yeah. Like, yeah, with Saddam Hussein being the dictator or the leader. Yeah.
But like they knew where they were going to go get lunch that day.
Mm-hmm.
They could go to school, stuff like that. You couldn't say anything bad about Saddam or your head was going to come off. But like, not to say their point was not to say we wouldn't have had complaints about that. We did.
Yeah, yeah.
But holy shit, this got way worse.
It didn't it? Big time. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I can't carry a shovel. Yeah. There was a time in Iraq where you couldn't have a shovel or a cell phone when we rolled up.
You couldn't have a cell phone?
No. Or a shovel. You would get shot for that.
Why a cell? Because they think
IEDs,
you're calling in?
Yeah. Or just calling an IED. It was such a big problem back then. So the rules of engagement at one point for Spec Ops were, they were not going to say sketch. They were just, wow, just wow. I don't think that your average person doesn't hear about that too much or, know some of the things that the rules of engagement, how they changed and fluctuated over the years. It's 1 minute it's this, next minute it's I got to win the hearts and minds now, I was never a part of doing any of that. That was like regular military, regular army stuff, winning the hearts and minds. Our thing was like, we'll take them. They can win them. But we did a lot of that. Yeah.
We'll take them.
Yeah. Did a lot of that.
But you do those first two in Iraq.
Yeah.
You go through Ranger School. Now we're in like 07, 08, something like that. Is this when you first go to Afghanistan?
Afghanistan, yeah. Well, I did Mosul, or Tikrit, Mosul, Baghdad. Then I went to first deployment to Afghanistan was, I think it was not Kandahar. Maybe it was Kandahar. No, it wasn't Kandahar. It was Bagram, Afghanistan, because it was cold that year. And my first time ever seeing mountains, like to that nature. But Bagram, Afghanistan. That was a dull deployment. It wasn't what I expected, but no, it is what, I guess you could say it is what I expected. We knew it wasn't going to be like Iraq, where you have like a more city environment. And it just wasn't that much action for guys like us in Afghanistan during that time frame. It was the slow deployments. That's where guys would just go to lift weights, and you found out what SEAL stands for. It's sleep, eat, and lift. Those were those deployments.
Yeah.
But it picked up quick, though. It picked up my second go-around to Afghanistan.
But when you first get called in to go there, this is now 6-7 years since we invaded. Mm-hmm. 03, we go into Iraq, and the line, I think that's very fair, is like, took your eye off the ball, right?
Yep.
Because, I mean, people forget, but the beginning of Afghanistan was like one of the most successful modern military operations in history.
Yeah.
So now you're going there where the resources have been pulled a while ago.
Big time.
And now what was the running and hiding and fledgling Taliban is like, when I hear this history, it's like they were slowly dripping their way across the country and telling people, hey, your life wasn't that bad before this, right?
Yep. It was a weird environment, I think. But you're 100% correct when you say the resources were just pulled out of that. It was all focused towards, Iraq and getting Iraq done with. But I think that we had also like a huge influx of the foreign fighters coming in at that point, coming into Afghanistan, and they started to have more balls, man. They were more ballsy of, we're going to have a safe haven here and we're going to fight. and Afghanistan started to slowly become that. And depending on where in Afghanistan you were, it was kind of crazy. Like up in the mountains, the Hindu Kush, I don't know what it was called, but some regular Army guys were there. I never got a chance to do any outpost stuff like that. Ours was all direct action, just going to this hut, that mountain, that village. So it was a little different, but
the first one, none of that really happens. The
No.
first one, you're just chilling and working out every day.
Yep. Trying to fight SEAL Team 6 guys, man. That's literally what it was all about. They didn't like us. We didn't like them.
Oh, you didn't get along with them?
No, it was a bad deployment. They had to put up a big, fence in between us because the tensions were high. They were not allowed to mess with us or see us. We had different eating times, different bathrooms, different everything.
The tensions were high over
Yeah.
what? Who fucked someone's girl?
I don't know. I was just along for the ride, man. I'm like, hey, you got beef with my guys. And yeah, I don't know. It was just I guess it was just a lot of competition. And we didn't think that those guys were as good as what other people say. We thought that we could do the same things they could do. Because we had been doing it for so long, side by side with Delta. Sometimes Delta would give us their missions if they were going to go do something else. So we were good at what we were doing, but it was like they wanted to, like big bro, like a big brother, with the little brother, just push you off to the side. I want to do this. And it just got old after a while. Like, no, we don't do that. So
A little bit of arrogance.
very much so. Very much so. Yeah. That's where I got my disdain for SEAL Team 6 guys. I like the SEALs are cool. They're fine. And they didn't do they just weren't they did not do they're water-based guys, If you want us to take over an oil rig, don't call a ranger, call a SEAL. We'll tear that thing up. We'll all drown. So call those guys. But when it comes to destroying something on land, would call us. Yeah.
So when you see Bin Laden get whacked in 11, you're like, yeah, and then they're like,
Then I
it was
found out
SEAL
who it
Team
was,
6.
yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Yep. I was hoping for Delta, man. I was hoping for Delta to have it, but they were in Iraq at that time.
It's like those are the same guys I was fighting with in 08.
Yep. Same. No shit, man. The same guys. The same guys.
You must
Same
have.
guys.
Corbett was there because he was SEAL Team 6 at that time. I just had him sitting in that chair.
I'd have to see faces. Yeah.
That was Can we pull up Daniel Corbett, Serbian prisoner? This is the guy I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Who was taken prisoner in Serbia. I feel like he would have been one of the guys. Like he's the dude in the corner of the room. Like, God damn it! Like he just doesn't give a fuck. This dude.
More than like, how does he? Yeah, he looks familiar, man.
That dude in the glasses.
Yeah,
on the left.
yeah.
And that's him. Yeah. That's him with Mike Ritland right there.
More than likely, dude. I've done ops with him.
Yeah, he did not strike. Like, I don't know that I've had a 6-team guy in here, but I've seen a lot of content with SEAL Team 6 guys.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he was. And then he got talking, just his approach. I'm like, oh, he's a savage. But not the...
stereotypical.
No.
Yeah.
He's no Taylor Kavanaugh.
You can always spot a SEAL Team 6 guy. Yeah. But some of them blend in really good. Like, I could never tell. Yeah.
That's the guy that blends in.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Yep.
But yeah, he must have, unless I'm off a couple months on the deployment,
It
but
could
he
be
was
months,
there.
but we were all,
He was there
together.
with SEAL Team 6 at that time. Obviously, they have heats that they go in. But
Yeah.
Still, that's funny. Small world. So you guys are just chilling and you couldn't even work out with them?
No. We had this little like prison gym in a small, like an old rundown, old empty or a schoolhouse, old school, and that's where we lived at. They expanded the compound, and SEAL Team 6 had their own equipment, had their own MWR, the computers, their phones and stuff. But it wasn't many. They don't ever travel like we're traveling with 35 to 40 guys. SEAL Team 6 guys, they're like, a small handful.
Right.
Very small handful. I found that cool. What they could do with the least amount of guys. But I just felt like we were way better.
And you never left during that deployment? You never left the base?
Oh, hell yeah. We went out with those guys all the time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they would just do all the killing.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
So there was action. You were just
Oh, there was action.
you
We
were
just,
hanging back, and you're like, "Fuck you guys."
Exactly.
You already took care of it.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. Like, no,
Ah.
you guys carry our stuff, and when we get there, we'll get it back, and we'll go knock this out. It was a lot of that.
Got it. So you're like
Yeah.
in the rear in a way.
Or in the rear enough to like smell the gunpowder.
Yeah.
And see the dead bodies. Yeah.
You're like, we missed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, all of you guys in special forces do say the same thing, and it makes sense to me. It's like if you train your whole life to be in the NFL
Mhm.
and you get there, you ain't trying to be backup quarterback. You want to play.
Exactly.
But in the NFL, with very few exceptions, people don't die, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's some
yeah.
bad injuries, but for the most part, like, people do live. You're talking about, though, the same mentality where it's like you're going to go out there and there's bullets flying at you, and
Yeah.
you and your boys might not come back, but that's the only place you want to be.
Hell yeah. You don't even think about I've never thought about it as like, oh no, there's like, guys are going to be shooting at you. That doesn't scare you though. And you don't, like, I thought about death all the time. Not all, I thought about it a lot, but I'm not thinking about it so much as to where it's going to like make me a coward or shy away from something. It's just like, oh, well, you could die. You could die tomorrow too, could die back at home. You could die anywhere. So it really wasn't like that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And you have a gun. Like, one of the greatest speeches I've ever been given was by my first sergeant. And he said, it's the easiest, most memorable speech I can remember. It was, they got guns, we got guns. Let's go. That was it. So it's, we're just better at what we do. Like,
Yeah.
They have a gun. Oh, well, that's fine. That's cool. But like, we've been training for this for months and months on end. So you don't really think you're going to walk into a firefight and expect it to be your last firefight. No. 99% of the time, if we're going up against people with guns, which was a lot, like, it was a very one-sided, extremely one-sided. Yeah.
What deployment did you become a sniper officially?
Officially 2008. Yeah.
Okay, so this is for this one, not
Yeah.
your sniper.
Yeah.
So you've gone through sniper school and all that?
I went through, so in our battalion during that time, we had I guess you can call it like a sniper pipeline. Before we would send guys to sniper school, we would send them to like civilian sniper courses, but they were sanctioned by the U.S. government, U.S. military, Army. I went through a extreme long range precision sniper school. No, first it was just precision sniper school in Texas, a place called Kingsville. I went through a extreme long range, then I went to a high angle one in California, but not the Marine Corps one. It was put on by a really well-known shooting instructor. And then after that is when I went to sniper school. And I think it was like 5 weeks or 6 weeks. I forget how long sniper school is. It might be 8 weeks long. I don't
Was that
remember.
in Indiana?
No, that was in Fort Benning.
That was in Fort Benning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then after that, so I did like 4 sniper schools before, or all together total. 3 before I went to the official U.S. Army one. And that's like, it's an easy sniper school course after you've been through all the other courses you've taken. Like, you're not even shooting that much in U.S. Army sniper school. A lot of it, like 10% of it's shooting, 20% of it's shooting, 80%'s the fundamentals, the sniper formulas, the
Sniper formulas?
Yeah. What's a good one? Okay, so like the scopes we use are mil-dot scopes. Inside the scope, you have that crosshair, and you have dots on it, or lines on it, or hash marks on it. And you can use that as a form of measurement to see how far away something is and to adjust for the wind and elevation for the bullet. So let's say an easy calculation would be, I'm looking at a target and I measure him from his groin to the top of his head. The average male body is around 40 inches, give or take a few inches. So 40 times this constant, 24 meters, would be 25.4. And 40 times 25.4 is 1,016. And if I take 2 mil dots from the groin to the top of your head and plug it into 1,016, it comes out to 508. So I know you're 508 yards away. Then there's one for like yards, and it's multiplying it by 27.7, and you get a different formula. Yeah. But that's a basic, very basic formula. Then you have your win formulas, and then you have to go out and apply it and stuff like that. Then you have stalking and everything else.
Stalking?
Yeah. Stalking, where your ghillie suit stalking, given a target, or an instructor is sitting in the back of a pickup truck and you have to sneak within like 200, 300 yards of this instructor. You're given a time limit. And there's a team of instructors looking at you. They know where you're starting from, and they know where you have to be, and they're looking all in that field, that area. And the objective is not to get caught, pull off a shot, and sneak back out without being seen. And they have instructors that, after you take the shot, will come within a few feet of you. And they'll say, I'm within 3 feet of the sniper. The instructor on the back of a truck or something, he's looking. It's like, I think I see him down here by your feet at this area, this location. Put your hand on him, top of his head, and they're like, no, that's not him. That's like the hardest part of sniper school. Then you have to sneak back out. And
whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Most
intense.
people fail that portion, like 70% fail that portion.
And then did they get a chance to redo it, or are they out?
Oh, you get kicked. I mean, you get 5, I think it's 5 chances to do it. I forget. But if you fail, like, you have to make 70% of your stalks. If you don't, then you get kicked out. I'm not sure if you can come back to sniper school, or you have to wait like a year or something like that. I have no idea. I went straight through. That's like one of the only courses I went straight through, and it wasn't hard like that.
You were just kind of born for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That comes across.
Yeah.
Because, like, snipers are so fascinating to speak with, because it's not to put down any other types of warfare. It's all important, like, where it comes from. But, like, when you're up in front on the assault, it's like you're much more, not literally hand-to-hand, but you know what I mean. You're right there, like, all right, point, shoot, kill.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, you know, you're doing fucking Albert Einstein's equations up there and doing insane math. What's the term again for the curvature of the Earth you got to take into account too?
They call that the Coriolis effect.
That's it. Yeah, the Coriolis effect, right? You got to, I love that you laid out the formula there and how that would work based on inches and distance and everything.
I hope my math is right. What is 40 times 25.4? Should be 1,016.
He didn't have a calculator when he was doing this. He would have had a calculator out there.
Oh, yeah.
But
no, I wouldn't.
No?
No.
You didn't take a calculator out there with you?
I hated technology. Like, I like the old school 25.4. 40 times
40 times 25.4?
Yeah.
That changes the game that you didn't have a calculator.
There we go.
You were dead on.
So it's I didn't like the calculator. I liked the like old school Carlos Hathcock type Vietnam sniping. Green Berets, they love that stuff, but I was just never into that.
Well, it's like
it
the
helps.
smallest thing can change from a kill to a complete miss.
Oh, 100%.
Like literally a millimeter.
Oh yeah, 100%. Which we saw with the attempted assassination.
Yes.
The first one. So it's a matter of millimeters and inches, definitely.
And that one was only like 375, 400 yards.
It's very short distance.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, I mean, you did a shot from 750. What was your longest one? Like 1,000?
Yeah.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Over half a mile, yeah. That was I'm not going to say it was luck. It was less math. Well, I did use apply a little bit of math, but what I did was watch where the bullet impacted, the first bullet. Like when it missed, I was like, oh, okay, well, I just need to hold up.
Oh, okay.
Just pick it up a little bit.
Hold it right there, buddy.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah. A little to the left.
Yeah. That's pretty much how it went. He saw the bullet. He saw it impact, and by the time he looked up to see where it was coming from or where he thought it was coming from, like the second one was already apexing. Like it was a clean shot. And you can see the vapor trail. It's like the Matrix type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think, remember that movie Wanted, where they'd like
Yeah.
turn the
Oh,
bullets
yeah,
and
yeah,
shit?
yeah.
Nah, it's like crazy, but I always think about if some of it is in just enough slow motion for people as highly skilled as you, that like it's not like that, but like you can literally almost stop time for a second and feel where that bullet is.
Yeah. It is almost like it takes a trained eye to pick up on trail or trace of a bullet, and it takes time, I think, to adapt your eye to it because it's happening so quick. You know, at half a mile, the bullet is taking oh shit, what is it? 1.7, 1.8 seconds to
Yeah.
get there. That's a pretty good chunk of time, you know. But shorter distances, like a few hundred yards, that it's hard to even comprehend how fast that bullet gets there.
Can you even, if you're at 1,000 yards and it happens to be a day where it's stormy, can you even take that shot?
Stormy? No.
Right?
How much wind are we talking?
20, 25 miles an hour
Ooh.
with rain coming down.
Rain is not a factor, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Not at all.
No. Rain's not a factor.
Why not?
Bullets moving fast enough, and you have a. You ever see the video or a video of a sonic jet when it's that cone coming off of it?
What do we search? Let's pull it up.
I'm not a jet guy. The cone that comes off the plane when it's going really fast.
Try sonic jet cone coming off plane. Vapor cone?
Not the vapor cone. That's
Breaking the sound barrier?
Yeah.
All right, let's try that one.
There you
Second one
go.
there?
Yep. Our bullet moving really fast. They have like a still photo. It's almost like that.
Also, people, if it cuts ahead at some point here, it's because it's copyright and you missed the video. I'll put the link in the description. If not, then we're gonna be able to play it.
And Wanted.
There we go. I
There
love
should be
that.
a-
I love that movie.
Should be a
When
picture
I
or
was a
whatever
kid.
of like a bullet when it's going. That's not, and that's fake. You can tell because it still has the cartridge attached to the actual projectile.
Oh, that's AI?
Oh yeah.
Damn it.
But when you see a still image of a bullet, there's a cone going off of it.
Would that work?
No, it'd have to be a picture, a still frame.
All right, if you find it later,
Yeah,
I'll throw the link in the
yeah.
description for people. I get what you're saying, though.
But there's a cone that comes off of it, and it's not affected by any water or anything like that. And those are all fake photos. Oh, there's one right down, the black and white one. It's that cone.
This one?
Yeah, so you see there you go. That's perfect. All that. That's the water does not touch the bullet, doesn't affect the bullet, nothing like that.
I would never guess that because,
Yeah.
like, you would just think, like, the physical force. I mean, it's not much, but it doesn't take much. You know what I mean? To move
no.
a bullet off.
Once
but
it hits,
the wind does.
Yeah, but once it hits transonic, when it stops being supersonic, maybe you might have an issue there.
What distance does it hit transonic?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Depends on what you're shooting.
200 yards past Donald Trump?
What do you mean?
Meaning his was close enough that it doesn't hit
Oh,
transonic?
with transonic, it's 1,000 plus a mile plus. Yeah, depending on what you're shooting. But at that distance, no, it's still very or supersonic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that wouldn't be a factor. Wind's going to be the greatest factor. And like I may have shot in 20-mile-an-hour winds once down here, or not here, but in Texas, in Kingsville. Wasn't very accurate.
How far?
Maybe like 500, 600 yards.
So how much would, let's say 500 yards, rounder number,
Yeah.
how much would a bullet move in 20-mile-an-hour wind there?
Oh my gosh, you're getting my math going now.
Well, you're apparently good at it, even if you didn't try in
Yeah.
school. Like, it's in there.
It's in. I haven't done a wind formula in a minute. So let's say per 1 mile an hour wind at 1,000 yards, per 1 mile an hour wind, a drift you're around, I think it's like 10 feet with a 3-away. I might be off with the wind formula, but I know it's a drastic.
10 feet's a lot. 10 feet's from there to the
Yeah.
edge. So
Per-
you're shooting here
Mm-hmm.
to get there at 500. feet, that's going to be in like 0.8, 0.9 seconds. You're shooting from here to get it to there in 0.8 seconds.
At a certain distance, like at 1,000 yards. At 500 yards, at 20-mile-an-hour wind, dude, that's you're holding mils. So
You're holding what?
mils, the dots inside the scope on the crosshair, and in between. So there's like a mil dot itself is 0.2 mils. It comes from mil radian, and then in between each one, it's 3 point. I want to say 3 point. We would use 3.4, 3.6 or something. I think 3.6. Distance in between each one. So if at 100 yards, right? If I'm lining my crosshairs up with the center of an object, let's say a quarter, and I shoot the quarter or try to shoot the quarter, my crosshairs are lined up, and I'm 3.6 inches high. That bullet impact should be exactly or very close to where that first mil dot is going to be at. So it's at that distance. At 200 yards, it times it by 2. 300 yards, you multiply it by 3, and it increases at that rate up until forever. So, yeah, a 20-mile-an-hour wind at 500 yards it's significant, very significant. Yeah, you're not going to aim at it; you'll miss by feet.
What was the longest military shot on record? Do you remember? We can Google it. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
This is going to sound crazy. I might be way over my head. I think it was like 2+ miles. I'm totally not sure.
Yeah, let's check that out.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was by a Canadian guy.
Oh, is this the dude that was on Sean's show?
I don't remember.
I think it is. All right, so this is a Ukraine-made Volodar. Oh, the longest military sniper shot in history was made in November 2023 by a Ukrainian sniper.
See, I don't believe this. This is, I think, BS. We'll consider it. We'll consider it, but there should be the Canadian sniper right there for 2.19 miles. Maybe the Ukrainian guy did get it, but I saw the equipment he used, and I don't know.
Leslie, can you type in Sean Ryan, Canadian sniper, longest shot? I feel like this was the guy. He had him on for something else. This is a while ago.
That guy. I think it was him, right?
Yeah, that's him.
2.2 miles away.
His name's like Dallas or something? Is that it?
Wow, yeah.
Can you just click that real quick, Alessi, so we can get his name? Give him a shout out. Pause it real fast. I want Sean to copyright strike me.
Dallas Alexander.
Yeah, Dallas Alexander. That's it.
Oh wow, 2.2 miles, man.
2.2.
That's a shot I would not ever take. I'm just not comfortable with that. No, good for him. That's sick, man.
Because there's people in the kill radius that you might not want to kill.
I don't even care about that. It's just
fuck them kids.
I'm not worried about it. That's just a long shot. I don't have time for that math. A mile,
God.
2+ is that's pushing. I don't know how long it took the bullet to get there. It had to be sandwich making time. Yeah.
Sandwich, that's good. Sandwich making time.
Enough to make a sandwich, yeah.
You wait for it to get there.
Yeah, that's a minute, man, of travel.
It's like 2. a Scud missile coming in a way.
Yeah. And coming straight up, straight on top, too. That's, straight on top. That bullet's falling at that distance.
The bullets you were using in your gun, like using your fingers, how long are they?
About like that big. Oh, the projectile part that comes out?
Yeah.
Oh, like maybe that big.
Enough to do damage.
Yeah, like pinky, the tip of your pinky.
Right.
Yeah, and you're lobbing that, half a mile to a mile.
Now,
maybe not a mile, no.
What was your, ritual with this? Like, you talk a lot about the gun and, painting the gun and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool because it's almost like you wanted to feel it and whatever. But once you actually, and you can talk about that too, but once you get out there and you know the spot you're going to that you want to use, from the minute you get to the spot to the minute you go to be ready to take a shot, what are you doing?
From the moment I'm about to
from the moment you get there. Like you haven't
Okay.
set up anything yet.
Gotcha.
Like you're about to
Yeah.
get down, like get in your nest
Yeah.
right here. Like what's your routine?
I'm looking at wind or feeling the wind mainly, and like there's not really, I didn't have that much time. By the time I set up on the rooftop and by the time that the assaulters got there, it's 1 minute, 2 minutes. So it's not much time to even like absorb all that. Mainly just the environment. I just want to feel the environment, feel if there is any wind. Just feeling the environment and getting in tune with that and locking myself into a bubble that nothing can distract me from. That was like the only routine that I had. And just it's just a certain amount of focus that I haven't achieved outside of that line of work is being inside that bubble of and that in tune with just nature. You can feel everything. You're like one big, like a radar, meteorologist like style radar or something like that. You feel everything: the wind, the temperature, humidity, barometric pressure. I mean, not
The
exactly.
barometric pressure.
You're not really feeling that, but that does get taken into consideration depending on how far a shot is.
I don't even know what that is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar, but I forgot that one.
They
from
talk
school.
about it on the news every once in a while on the Weather Channel. Yeah.
Is that like the thing that you put the stick on top of the can and it like moves up and down like a barometer or whatever? Is that what you're talking about?
you guys did that in school?
Yeah.
My school is different, man.
Yeah.
I don't
I remember
know.
we put that shit outside and watched it move.
Really?
Yeah, that's barometric pressure. Is that the same concept?
I have to see the tool you're talking. I have no idea.
Can you type in a barometer? Homemade barometer, Alessi?
If you can make a homemade barometer, I might use this for my kid. Teach him how to
Yeah.
make one.
I remember this was like
You had a cool school.
this was the when I was in school at 9/11. Like I remember this was like right in the corner.
Wow.
That shit right there. Yeah.
Wow. That is really neat.
Right? You're gonna
And-
take that out sniping now.
Yeah. That is really neat.
I can't believe I taught you something.
Wow. Yeah, dude.
That's
I've
incredible.
never.
I don't know
I've
what that
never-
shit does, but it's useful.
It tells you when it's gonna rain and when it's not.
What was that Family Guy? It's gonna rain
Oh yeah, dude. We used to watch so much Family Guy overseas.
on the bases.
Yeah, I know exactly the episode you're talking about. When it started raining sideways. I know exactly the episode. It's raining sideways. Yeah.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.